The clock on the wall ticked past 8 p.m., its relentless rhythm mocking Lucas Bennett as he hunched over his desk, drowning in spreadsheets. New York City's skyline glittered beyond the glass walls of Sterling & Co. But for Lucas, the view was just a ton of freedom he couldn't touch. His boss, Ethan Sterling, had a knack for piling on overtime. And tonight was no exception, another urgent project due by morning. Another night stolen from his life. Lucas rubbed his tired eyes, the glow of his laptop screen burning into his retinas. At 26, he'd clawed his way into this prestigious marketing firm, hoping to prove himself. Instead, he felt like a hamster on a wheel, running for a man who seemed to thrive on his misery. Ethan Sterling, the 32-year-old CEO, was a legend in the industry. Ruthless, brilliant, and impossibly magnetic. His sharp suits and sharper tongue commanded every room. But to Lucas, he was a tyrant who singled him out with impossible deadlines and icy critiques. Why me? Lucas thought, slamming his pen down. Why does he always pick me? The office was silent, save for the hum of the air conditioning and the occasional ping of an email. Most of the team had left hours ago, but Lucas stayed, as always, tethered to Ethan's demands. He glanced at the framed photo on his desk, a faded picture of him and his younger brother, Noah, laughing at Coney Island. It was a reminder of why he endured this grind, to pay for Noah's college, to give him a shot at a better life. But tonight, the photo only deepened his frustration. He was sacrificing everything. And for what? A boss who barely acknowledged his existence outside of barking orders. The glass door to Ethan's corner office swung open, and the man himself stepped out, his presence filling the room like a storm cloud. Lucas's heart did an annoying flip, a reaction he hated himself for. Ethan was tall, broad-shouldered, with jet black hair and piercing blue eyes that seemed to see through people. His tailored navy suit hugged his frame, and the faint scent of his cedarwood cologne drifted toward Lucas, making his pulse quicken despite his exhaustion. Bennett. Ethan's voice was low, commanding. You're still here. Good. I need the Q3 projections revised by midnight. Lucas's jaw tightened. Midnight? Sir, I've been here since 7 a.m. I haven't even eaten. Then order takeout. Ethan cut him off. His tone clipped, but not unkind. He leaned against the edge of Lucas's desk, arms crossed, studying him with an intensity that made Lucas squirm. You're the only one I trust with this. Don't let me down. Lucas wanted to scream. Trust. Ethan's version of trust felt like punishment. Yet, there was something in those blue eyes tonight, a flicker of something softer. Almost expectant. It was gone before Lucas could name it, replaced by Ethan's usual unreadable mask. Fine, Lucas muttered, shoving his glasses up his nose. I'll get it done. Ethan lingered for a moment, his gaze lingering on Lucas's face, then turned and disappeared back into his office. Lucas slumped in his chair, cursing under his breath. He didn't know why Ethan's presence always left him rattled, why his skin tingled under that stare. It wasn't just fear of his boss's temper, it was something deeper, something he refused to acknowledge. By 11 p.m., Lucas was surviving on coffee and spite. He'd finished the projections, emailed them to Ethan, and was about to pack up when his phone buzzed. A text from Noah. You still at work? Dude, you're gonna burn out. Lucas sighed, typing a quick reply. Almost done. Don't worry. But worry gnawed at him, too. He was pushing himself to the brink. And for what? Ethan's approval. A raise that might never come. The office door opened again, and Ethan reappeared, holding a takeout bag from Luigi's, the Italian place down the street. Lucas blinked, confused, as Ethan set the bag on his desk. You didn't eat, Ethan said simply, his voice softer than usual. Pasta primavera. It's good. Lucas stared at the bag, then at Ethan, his brain struggling to process the gesture. You got me food. Don't make a big deal out of it, Ethan said, already turning away. But he paused at the door, glancing back. Good work on the projections. Get some rest. Lucas sat frozen as Ethan vanished into the elevator. The bag of pasta sat there like a puzzle he couldn't solve. Why would Ethan, the coldest man he'd ever met, do something kind? He shook his head, chalking it up to a rare moment of guilt. But as he ate, the warmth of the food spreading through him, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting, something he wasn't ready to face. The next week was a blur of late nights and relentless tasks. Ethan's demands grew more intense, but so did his strange acts of care. A coffee on Lucas's desk one morning. A new ergonomic chair delivered to his cubicle. A brief, good job, murmured after a presentation. Lucas told himself it was nothing. Just Ethan being strategic, keeping his best worker functional. But the looks Ethan gave him long, searching, almost possessive made his stomach twist in ways he didn't understand. One rainy evening, Lucas was alone in the office again, working on a campaign pitch. The storm outside rattled the windows, and he felt a pang of loneliness. He missed his old life nights out with friends, lazy Sundays with Noah. Now, it was just him, this desk, and Ethan's shadow looming over everything. Bennett. Ethan's voice startled him. He hadn't heard the door open. Ethan stood there, coat damp from the rain, his hair slightly mussed. You're still here. You keep giving me overtime. Lucas snapped before he could stop himself. He braced for a rebuke, but Ethan just chuckled a low, warm sound that sent a shiver down Lucas's spine. Fair point, Ethan said, stepping closer. But you keep staying. Lucas's cheeks burned. I don't have a choice. I need this job. Ethan's expression softened, and he sat on the edge of Lucas's desk, closer than ever. You're good, Lucas. Too good. That's why I push you. The use of his first name hit like a lightning bolt. Lucas's breath caught, and he hated how his heart raced. Then why make my life hell? He asked, his voice quieter now, almost pleading. Ethan's eyes darkened, and for a moment, Lucas thought he saw something raw, unguarded. Because, Ethan said, his voice low, I need you here, with me. The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning Lucas couldn't grasp. He opened his mouth to respond, but Ethan stood abruptly, breaking the moment. Finish the pitch, he said, his tone back to business. We'll talk tomorrow. As Ethan left, Lucas sat there, heart pounding, wondering what the hell had just happened. He didn't know it yet, but that moment was the first crack in the wall between Thema wall that, once broken, would reveal a truth neither was prepared for. Lucas couldn't shake Ethan's words from his mind. I need you here, with me. They echoed through his sleepless nights, haunting him as he navigated the fluorescent-lit corridors of Sterling & Co. He told himself it was nothing, just his overworked brain reading too much into a fleeting moment. But every time Ethan's blue eyes met his, that same electric jolt ran through him, leaving him rattled and craving more. The following Monday, Lucas arrived at the office to find a new project waiting, a high-stakes campaign for a major client, due in 3 days. Ethan had assigned it to him personally, with a note in his sharp handwriting, only you can handle this. Bennett. Lucas groaned, but a small part of him buried deep under layers of exhaustion felt a flicker of pride. Ethan's trust, however grudging, was hard-won. By Wednesday, Lucas was drowning in data, his desk a chaotic sprawl of notes and coffee cups. The office was quiet. The rest of the team long gone. When Ethan appeared, leaning against the doorframe, his tie was loosened, his sleeves rolled up, revealing strong forearms that Lucas tried not to notice. "Progress?" Ethan asked, his voice calm but expectant. Lucas pushed his glasses up, fighting the urge to snap. "It's coming along. I'll hit the deadline." Ethan nodded, then did something unexpected, pulled up a chair and sat beside Lucas, close enough that their knees nearly touched. "Show me," he said, gesturing to the screen. Lucas hesitated, thrown by the proximity. Ethan's cologne, that damn cedarwood scent, filled his senses, making it hard to focus. He walked Ethan through the campaign, his voice steadier than he felt. Ethan listened intently, his gaze flicking between the screen and Lucas's face, lingering longer than necessary. "It's solid," Ethan said finally, leaning back. "But the visuals need more heart. This client's all about emotion. Connection." Lucas bristled. "I've been working on this for 48 hours straight. If you want heart, give me time to breathe." Ethan's lips twitched, almost a smile. "You're breathing now, aren't you?" Lucas glared, but there was no real heat in it. Ethan's teasing, rare as it was, felt like a crack in his armor, a glimpse of something human. "Why do you do this?" Lucas asked, the words spilling out. "Why pile all this on me? There are 10 other people on this team." Ethan's expression shifted, his eyes searching Lucas's face. "Because you're different," he said quietly. "You don't just work. You feel it. You pour yourself into everything." Lucas's throat tightened. He wanted to argue, to call it a cop-out, but the sincerity in Ethan's voice stopped him. For the first time, he wondered if Ethan's relentless demands were more than cruelty. Maybe they were a strange kind of faith. That night, Lucas stayed late again, tweaking the campaign. Around 10 p.m., Ethan returned, carrying 2 steaming mugs of coffee. "Thought you could use this," he said, setting one down. Lucas took it, their fingers brushing for a split second. The contact sent a shock through him, and he pulled back, embarrassed. "Thanks," he mumbled, focusing on his screen. Ethan didn't leave. Instead, he sat across from Lucas, sipping his coffee, watching him work. The silence between them wasn't awkward, it was charged, like the air before a storm. Finally, Ethan spoke. "Why do you stay?" "Lucas, you could walk away. Find a job that doesn't chain you to a desk." Lucas paused, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. He thought of Noah, of the bills piling up. But there was more to it, something he hadn't admitted even to himself. "I stay because I want to be the best," he said finally. "And because you push me to be." Ethan's eyes softened, and for a moment, Lucas saw something raw, unguarded. "Good," Ethan said, his voice almost a whisper. "Because I don't want you to go." The words hit Lucas like a punch. He stared at Ethan, searching for a hint of mockery, but found none. Before he could respond, Ethan stood, breaking the moment. "Finish the campaign," he said, his tone brisk again. "We'll review it tomorrow." The campaign presentation was a success, earning praise from the client and a rare nod of approval from Ethan. But Lucas couldn't shake the growing tension between them. Every glance, every casual touch, Ethan's hand on his shoulder, a brush of fingers when passing a file felt deliberate, loaded with meaning. Lucas told himself he was imagining it. Ethan was his boss, straight as an arrow, untouchable. But doubt crept in, fueled by the way Ethan's eyes lingered, the way his voice softened when they were alone. One evening, as Lucas packed up after another long day, he found a small note tucked under his keyboard. In Ethan's handwriting, It read, "Meet me at the rooftop lounge. 9 p.m." Lucas's heart raced. The rooftop was a private space, used only for client events. Why would Ethan want him there? At 9 p.m., Lucas stepped onto the rooftop, the city sprawling below like a sea of stars. Ethan stood by the railing, his silhouette sharp against the skyline. He turned as Lucas approached, his expression unreadable. "You wanted to see me?" Lucas asked, his voice unsteady. Ethan nodded, stepping closer. "I owe you an explanation," he said. "For the overtime. For everything." Lucas's pulse quickened. "I'm listening." Ethan took a deep breath. His eyes locked on Lucas's. "I'm not good at this," he said, his voice low. "But you're not just an employee to me. You never were. I keep you close because I can't let you go." The confession hung in the air, raw and unguarded. Lucas's mind reeled, torn between disbelief and a surge of hope he hadn't dared to feel. "What are you saying?" he whispered. Ethan stepped closer, close enough that Lucas could feel the heat of his body. "I'm saying I see you. Lucas. All of you. And I'm done pretending I don't." Before Lucas could respond, Ethan's hand cupped his cheek, and the world tilted. The kiss that followed was soft, tentative, then fierce, like a dam breaking. Lucas melted into it, his fears and doubts dissolving in the heat of Ethan's touch. For the first time in months, he felt alive truly, fully alive. But as they pulled apart, gasping, reality crashed back. Ethan was his boss. This was forbidden, dangerous. And yet, Lucas knew he couldn't walk away, not now. Not ever. The rooftop kiss lingered in Lucas's mind like a fever dream, replaying every time he closed his eyes. Ethan's lips, warm and urgent, had unraveled something inside him, a longing he'd buried under years of caution and self-control. But in the harsh light of the next morning, doubt crept in, cold and sharp. What had they done? Ethan was his boss, the untouchable CEO. This wasn't just a risk, it was a career death sentence. At the office, Lucas avoided Ethan's gaze, focusing on his computer screen as if his life depended on it. The memory of Ethan's hand on his cheek, the way his voice had softened, made it impossible to concentrate. He felt exposed, like everyone could see the truth written on his face. But the office hummed along, oblivious colleagues chatting, phones ringing, the usual chaos of Sterling & Co. Ethan, infuriatingly, acted as if nothing had changed. He barked orders, critiqued Lucas's latest report with his usual precision, and left for a client meeting without a second glance. By noon, Lucas was convinced he'd imagined the spark between them. Maybe the kiss was a mistake, a moment of weakness Ethan regretted. The thought stung more than Lucas wanted to admit. That evening, as Lucas prepared to leave, Ethan's voice stopped him. "Bennett, my office. Now." Lucas's stomach dropped. He followed Ethan into the glass-walled office, the door clicking shut behind them. Ethan stood by the window, his back to Lucas, the city lights casting shadows across his broad shoulders. "About last night," Ethan began, his voice low. He turned, his blue eyes intense. "I meant every word, every touch. But this, it's complicated." Lucas's heart pounded. "Complicated how?" "Because you're my boss. Or because you're not sure you meant it." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I'm sure," he said, stepping closer. "But I'm not out. Lucas. Not to the board. Not to the world. If this gets out, it could ruin everything I've built." The confession hit Lucas like a punch. He'd known Ethan was private, but this was different, a secret that could destroy them both. "So, what?" Lucas asked, his voice shaking. We pretend it didn't happen. I go back to being your overworked lackey. No, Ethan said fiercely. He closed the distance between them, his hands gripping Lucas's shoulders. I don't want to pretend. I want you. But we have to be careful. For now. Lucas wanted to pull away, to protect himself from the inevitable heartbreak. But Ethan's touch, firm and warm, anchored him. I don't know how to do this, Lucas admitted. I've never been with someone like you. Ethan's lips curved into a rare, genuine smile. Good. Because I've never felt like this about anyone. Over the next few weeks, they found a fragile rhythm. Stolen moments in Ethan's office after hours. Brief touches disguised as accidents. Whispered conversations in the elevator. Each encounter was a spark, igniting something deeper. But the secrecy weighed on Lucas. He hated lying to his colleagues, dodging questions about his late nights. He hated the fear that someone might catch them. That one wrong move could cost him everything. One night, as they sat on the rooftop again, Ethan opened up. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, he said, his voice quiet. Being different wasn't an option. My father, he'd have disowned me if he knew. I built this company to prove I was more than what he thought I could be. But it's lonely, Lucas. Until you. Lucas's heart ached. He reached for Ethan's hand, their fingers intertwining. You don't have to hide with me, he said. I see you. Ethan's eyes glistened, and he pulled Lucas into a kiss. Slow and deep, the city lights blurring around them. For a moment, the world felt right. But the world wasn't kind. The next morning, Lucas overheard whispers in the break room, rumors about Ethan. About late-night meetings. About favoritism. His name wasn't mentioned, but the implications were clear. Panic gripped him. If the truth came out, it wouldn't just be Ethan's reputation at stake, Lucas's career, his brother's future. Everything he'd worked for could collapse. He confronted Ethan that evening, his voice tight with fear. People are talking. They know something's going on. Ethan's face darkened. I'll handle it, he said. I always do. But Lucas wasn't convinced. This isn't just about you, he snapped. I'm the one who'll lose everything if this blows up. I'm not like you. I don't have a fortune to fall back on. Ethan flinched, and Lucas regretted his words instantly. I'm sorry, he said. Softer now. I'm scared. Ethan pulled him close, his arms a steady anchor. I won't let anything happen to you, he promised. We'll figure this out. Together. The tension escalated when a new project landed, a multi-million-dollar campaign that could make or break Sterling & Co. Ethan put Lucas in charge, a move that raised eyebrows among the team. Lucas poured himself into it, determined to prove his worth. But the pressure was crushing. Late nights blurred into early mornings, and the whispers grew louder. One evening, as Lucas worked alone, a colleague, Sarah, lingered at his desk. You're close to Ethan, aren't you? She asked, her tone probing. He's different with you. Lucas's heart raced. He's just demanding, he said, forcing a laugh. You know how he is. Sarah didn't look convinced, but she left without pressing further. Lucas's hands shook as he typed. The walls were closing in, and he didn't know how much longer they could keep this secret. That night, Ethan found him in the office, his face etched with worry. You look like hell, Ethan said, sitting beside him. Talk to me. Lucas broke, the words spilling out his fear, his exhaustion, his love. I want this, he said, his voice raw. I want you, but I can't lose everything for it. Ethan's eyes softened, and he pulled Lucas into his arms. You won't, he said fiercely. I'll protect you. I swear it. But as they held each other, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that their time was running out. The campaign deadline loomed, and Lucas was a wreck. The office buzzed with tension, every glance from a colleague feeling like an accusation. He and Ethan had been careful, meetings kept professional, touches avoided, but the rumors hadn't stopped. Lucas felt like he was walking a tightrope, one misstep away from losing everything. The night before the presentation, Lucas was in the office past midnight, finalizing slides. Ethan appeared, his face drawn with exhaustion. You should be home, he said, his voice softer than usual. So should you, Lucas shot back, but there was no venom in it. He was too tired for anger, too raw from the weight of their secret. Ethan sat beside him, their shoulders brushing. I meant what I said, he murmured. I'll protect you, no matter what. Lucas wanted to believe him, but fear gnawed at his heart. What if we can't keep this hidden? He asked. What if the board finds out? Or the press? Ethan's hand found his, squeezing gently. Then we face it together, he said. I'm done hiding who I am, who we are. The words were a lifeline, but Lucas couldn't shake his dread. He loved Ethan God. He loved him, but love didn't pay bills or shield them from a world that could tear them apart. The presentation was a triumph. The client signed on the spot, and the team erupted in cheers. Even Ethan cracked a rare smile, clapping Lucas on the shoulder in front of everyone. But the victory was short-lived. That afternoon, a gossip blog posted a blurry photo of two men on a rooftop, their silhouettes unmistakable. The caption read, Sterling & Co. S CEO caught in late-night rendezvous with employee. Trouble in paradise. Lucas's heart stopped when he saw it. The office exploded with whispers, and he felt every eye on him. Sarah approached, her expression sympathetic. Is it true? She asked quietly. Lucas couldn't speak. He fled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on his face, trying to breathe. When he returned, Ethan was waiting in his office, his face pale but resolute. We need to talk, Ethan said, closing the door. The board's calling an emergency meeting. They've seen the article. Lucas's knees buckled. What do we do? Ethan took his hands, his grip steady. We tell the truth, he said. I'm done pretending. I love you, Lucas, and I'm not ashamed of it. The words broke something in Lucas, flooding him with warmth and terror. I love you too, he whispered. But this could ruin us. Ethan's eyes blazed. Let it. You're worth it. The board meeting was brutal. Ethan stood tall, admitting his relationship with Lucas, refusing to apologize. Lucas sat beside him, his heart pounding, as the board debated his fate. Some called for Ethan's resignation, others for Lucas's termination. But Ethan fought back, his voice steady, outlining his contributions to the company, his vision for its future. He made it clear he wouldn't sacrifice Lucas for his position. In the end, the board relented, swayed by Ethan's resolve and the campaign's success. But the fallout wasn't over. The press pounced, and Lucas's name was dragged through the headlines. He braced for the worst, expecting judgment from his colleagues, his brother. But Noah surprised him, pulling him into a hug. I just want you to be happy, he said. And you are, right? Lucas nodded, tears in his eyes. Yeah, I am. Months later, Lucas and Ethan stood on the rooftop again, the city sparkling below. The scandal had faded, replaced by new headlines. And Sterling & Co. was thriving. Ethan had come out publicly, his confidence inspiring others in the industry. Lucas had been promoted, His talent finally recognized without the shadow of secrecy. Ethan pulled Lucas close, his lips brushing his ear. "You were worth every risk," he murmured. Lucas smiled, his heart full. "So were you." They kissed under the stars, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. The overtime, the late nights, the relentless demands they'd been Ethan's clumsy way of keeping Lucas close, of flirting with the man he'd known, deep down, was his true mate. And now, they had forever to figure out the rest.